From the 3 documentaries video that we have watched in the YouTube, here are the 3 pictures of the 3 individuals that have been diagnosed with autism, which is Audrey, Yasmin and Chester. All of them already been diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, ASD, from a very young age. Their level of autism spectrum also varies, since each one of them have their own story of dealing with autism. We would like to make comparisons in terms of their development, support system, challenges that both their support system and the children face, as well as the way support system overcome the challenges.
All these kind of small things, right? When my parents don't know, I say, yeah, she just wants this lah. I can say this kind of thing because now I understand her body cue already.
We all found it difficult in the first few years to get used to the thought of it, and that I wasn't normal for the first few years.
Autism, we know everything. We actually know nothing. We don't see the strength of what our children with autism have. They're absolutely phenomenal. They're amazing. They're a gift from God.
What's autism? That's the first thing I asked. My mom just told me, oh, it's some sort of thing that kids have when they're young.
He read the word autism. He asked me, is there something wrong with me? I have nothing wrong, he says.
I like talking to people and socializing, but the anxiety part comes in when you don't know anything about the things that they're talking about, but you want to talk to them.
According to the American Psychiatric Associations, the term autism spectrum disorder, ASD, can be described as a complex developmental disease associated with difficulties in social communication, limited interest and repetitive actions. ASD is a form of neurological and developmental impairment that can be diagnosed as early as when the child is still 6 months old, but usually the symptoms will be more visible by the time they already reach 2 to 3 years of age. Autism is a lifelong illness. The degree of functional disability caused by these issues varies greatly among people with autism. Based on the research by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, boys are more prone to have autism than girls. Generally, there are 2 categories of ASD symptoms that parents should be aware of, which are communication and social interaction issues, as well as limited or repetitive actions. Early symptoms with communication and social interaction includes avoiding eye contact, no facial expressions, show no response to name calling, very limited use of hand gestures, etc. As for the symptoms related to movements and behavior are sustained to repetitive movements, echoes words or phrases, like to line objects in orderly manner, obsessive interest to certain things, as well as easily getting upset to minor things.
In terms of similarities, 3 of them have problems in terms of speech, where Audrey couldn't speak and Yasmin has problems in her throat, while Chester initially could not say his words. Starting from Audrey, she was diagnosed with ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder. She is non-verbal but still functional. One day, Audrey was hungry and her pampers were full. Then she ate some of her shit. After her sister noticed, she grabbed her and washed her sister. Audrey loved to do sorting, especially while playing Legos. She has planned to run a small business for Audrey because she can help to build and kind of stuff. And come to Yasmin, she had been diagnosed with high-functioning autism syndrome. She was normal for the first few years, but things are getting worse. Then she told her mother that she wants to try to go to school. Yasmin is trying her best to do her learning with her strength because just only with her strength might help her. Instead of the teacher being nice, she felt like she was locked up with the person beside her. She was not happy to study in the week and wanted to be more free without a person to sit and write beside her. She did not comfortable because she felt like somebody had ordered her to do something that she didn't want to do. She decided to leave the school because she does not enjoy learning and decided to change to homeschool. Yasmin thought that if homeschool, she will enjoy learning and be more comfortable at the same time. At this point, she felt that she was still in her comfort zone and she didn't want anybody to destroy that. While Chester, he was diagnosed with mild autism when he was 3 years old. As a young boy, Chester thought the world was a strange place. Loud noises terrified him and the crowded place confused him. His parents sent him to the psychiatrist and he keeps going back for a session. The strangers try to touch him. He gets very upset. There are a lot of people tell Chester's mother that she don't know how to teach a child. They say that the child is very demoralized. There are a lot of people who bullied him while in primary 1. He still can remember your faces and your names. After that, Chester attended counseling session and discovered a way to truly express himself. Normally, he will communicate by using his drawing while answering questions. Whenever he doesn't want to go to school, he is able to make himself to go a feverish situation where he can reach 39 degrees. When he went to the spotlight, he gained confidence and self-esteem. The smaller class sizes mean that the teacher could give the Chester the understanding he needed. With new guidance, Chester learned to interact socially. According to Piaget's theory, when Chester reaches that age, he is already in the pre-operational stage, when at the time, the children of the age were able to speak the words but were different. Chester at the time could not speak for a word. We can see from the beginning that until he is almost 3 years old, Chester still does not utter a word. Then, we can also see the differences between Audrey and Yasmin. Both of them were in phase formal operational stage, but Audrey did not achieve the development of the phase, while Yasmin achieved well. This can be proven when Audrey is reaching adulthood, but is unable to think logically to do something. For example, the situation where Audrey ate her own shit after the pampers that she is wearing is full. Meanwhile, it's different from Yasmin. After reaching adulthood, she can make a logical decision and in line with her will. This can be evidenced when Yasmin decides to quit school and continue homeschooling because she needs freedom rather than being bound by something she wants to do. Firstly, Audrey. Audrey is a sufferer of autism disease and she was cared by her sister Anna. As time went by, they realized that Audrey is unable to speak. Then, she was diagnosed with ASD, which is Autism Spectrum Disorder. Audrey is non-verbal but still functional. Their parents have to work 24/7. They run an eatery shop at Vision. Because Anna is the elderly, in her sister is a very naturally inherited persona of caregiver. Past 7 years old, Anna was working as a navvy. After a while, she realized that the job was really time-consuming and felt the distance between her and Audrey. She felt that she would not be able to spend time and care for her sister. If she was still in the Navy, she decided to leave the service. Time by time, Anna gets a bit closer to her sister and now she knows what her sister wants because she already can understand her sister's body cues. Next, Yasmin. When she was 7 years old, she had been diagnosed with high-functioning autism syndrome. At first, Yasmin and the whole family were shocked and had a difficult time adapting in the first few years. Anyhow, her mother is such an amazing mom that she tries very hard to do everything possible research on how to help her child, Yasmin, and the family life. Her mother thinks that it was a good thing to send her to school. At least she can try, and after diagnosis, her mother wants to cool and protect her from basically people's common views, comments, judgment, and misconception. Yasmin's mother sent her to a private school with the smallest number of children that she thinks might really benefit her. One of the psychologists said to Yasmin's mother that everything that she tried to fix and hyperactive, co-gathering, never stop talking, and always out there to research everything will not help her because she has a lot of triggers to her anxiety. The autism expertise told her that people who have autism are full of anxiety and fears. Last but not least, Chester. Chester was diagnosed with mild autism when he was 3 years old. His family seems confused and shocked. When he asked his mom about autism, his mom just told him that it's some sort of thing that kids have when they are young. His parents sent him to the psychiatrist and keep going back for a session. When it's come to primary 1, his mother doesn't want him to go to a special school. She thinks everything about what society thinks of the son and what are the employers going to say if they know Chester from the special school. He is a good as being called seed in the mind that she decided to enroll her son in a mainstream primary school. She said that she knew Chester would struggle, but she thought that the struggle will be better than being labeled for the rest of his life.
Similar challenges that they face is that Yasmin doesn't like to be in a place where a lot of people. Like when she was in school back then, she felt locked up, not feeling comfortable, and feel like people are ordering her to do things that she doesn't have interest in, which is learning. Hence, she will find a way out by walking around the school to avoid learning. Same like Jasmine, Chester doesn't like to be surrounded by people. As one time during his birthday, people sang a birthday song to celebrate his birthday, but it turns out the way that they do not expect it to be. He was not happy, he felt anxious and annoyed by the crowd and think that it is noisy and irritating. Other than that, Audrey doesn't like people to hug her, even her own sister. This is because she is hypersensitive to touch. She only expresses her love to her sister by holding hands. The science behind this is that autistic people suffer from delay in the development of the sensory cortex, which is part of the brain that responds to touch. Cuddling and simple touch can trigger their anxiety as they may find it unsafe. Chester got very upset when strangers trying to touch him. This shows that he got trust issue with somebody that he's not close to. According to Erikson's lifespan development theory, during the 0 to 12 months of age, infants develop trust to those who are responsive and sensitive to their demands, causing them to feel safe. At this age, if they are treated harshly and people can't fulfill their needs, they're prone to have mistrust issue with that person. As for the differences, they are not accepted by public. Anna says that her relationship usually doesn't end up well because most of the guy that he met can't accept her sister and say nasty things about her. She always been asked whether she has any plan of sending her sister to caregiver, showing that they wouldn't let Anna to take care of her sister after they get married. She did not blame any of them because it's not their responsibility, yet she asked strangers to accept her sister in their life. Unlike Audrey, Yasmin is so lucky to be surrounded by good people that don't look down on her disabilities. She said that the teacher is very understanding and patient in handling her. Even though she will try to escape from learning by run out of the classroom, or hiding under the table, but the teacher never gave up in educating her. Next aspect is speech delay. Even though Audrey already reached 18 years old, she still had trouble in communicating. There was one time when Audrey went to the toilet longer than usual, and Ina went to check on her whereabouts because she thinks that something is not right. When she arrived, she saw Audrey was sitting on the toilet bowl hoping for someone to help her because she had her menses and doesn't know what to do about it. Unlike Audrey, Chester do not have severe problem in communicating her needs. He still be able to tell others what he wants. When he was in school, he briefly asked his teacher's permission to go to the toilet. Unfortunately, the teacher doesn't allow him and he ended up in his pants. All his friends laughed at him the entire day because of that incident. According to Colbert's Level 1 of Moral Development Theory, which is the Pre-Conventional Morality Stage 1, it is common for children below 9 years old to see rules as fixed and absolute. Hence, he will strictly obey to the rules given by others because they are scared of being punished. The similar ways their support system helps to overcome the challenges is by enrolling them to the autism specialized school. Yasmin's parents believe that education can help her to deal with her autism. That's why her parents decided to send her to autism-focused school. When her mother saw that she can't cope in studying at a private school where the class consists of 11 students, her mother made a wise decision to homeschool her instead. Since then, she can focus on her studies and no longer creating trouble during the teaching and learning sessions. Same like Jasmine, Chester's family also emphasized on formal education. After a few years of studying there, his mom can detect her positive improvement when he able to gain self-confidence. He became more confident to talk in front of a crowd. This is when he willing to participate in competition and not having stage fright. He also proved that even he is an autistic, he still can excel in his studies, and now he is studying in visual communication course at Singapore Polytechnic. The difference between Audrey's and Yasmin's support system coping with the challenges is that Audrey's sister know her better than her own mother. This is when Audrey's sister Ina decided to give up on her Navy career to take care of her sister. She also finds that when she's still in the service, she can barely understand her sister as compared to her caregiver. They became closer as they get to spend more time together. In Yasmin's situations, after her mom undergone counseling sessions with the psychologist, and the psychologist advised Yasmin's mom to change her way of dealing with Yasmin. Since then, she able to understand Yasmin better. Before this, her mom always wanted Yasmin to have the same exact perspective or view of the world, like how a normal human being sees the world. Her actions somehow put Yasmin into trouble as her anxiety become worsened because she feels useless when she unable to meet her mom's expectations.
To summarize, it is a basic human right for all individuals to be free of discrimination and lack of opportunities due to their disabilities. Our responsibilities to disabled people in our community are even greater as Muslims. To assist the autistic, we must ensure that our schools and communities are occupied with the appropriate information knowledge. But as much as we must assist these people, we must also be inspired by them. Autistic people may be the purest, kindest, and most positive people you have ever met.